Hey guys, what's up? Pimar3 here, and welcome back to Let's Play Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. In the last episode, we went through our prologue mercenaries, met our protagonist of the story, kicked some idiot's ass who thought he knew everything, and then also fought our father. And so now will be our first official day of being a full-fledged mercenary. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Chapter 1, The Battle Begins. Now, you're not going to be seeing those cutscenes like you did in the prologue very often. There's very few of them in the game, so most of the time you're going to see the characters that you see are going to be exactly the ones you use in battle. They're going to look like this in the cutscenes. You might get the little portraits of the characters. Those will show up a lot like this, but you're not going to be seeing a lot of full-fledged cutscenes in the game. There's not too many of them. So this is Titania. She's kind of the second in command. She's your pre-promote unit for those of you that have played Fire Emblem, which we'll talk about that when we actually get to use her. But this is his first day as a professional soldier. Professional mercenary, technically. He's not really an outright soldier. Well, you are as late. The others were suited up and ready at the butt crack of dawn. Alright, so it appears our first job, as they're talking, we obviously are the semi-omniscient person here, so we actually get to see a little bit about what Ike's going to be facing. So a nearby village is apparently dealing with a group of bandits. The bandits are not all that strong. So she says that she plans on taking Oscar and Boyd. We already met Boyd. We'll meet Oscar later. Oscar's pretty kick-ass, though. Just the brothers, go ahead and take Ike with you. Shin and Gator and I can handle the other two jobs easily enough. Yeah, here's Oscar. He's amazing, by the way. He's freaking insane. So everybody's ready to go. I'm ready for action. Is that so, Boyd? That's a surprise. As of today, I'm going to be the absolute model of perfection. I need to set a good example for Ike. I'll take your word for it. First campaign at last. I know you've wanted this for a while. You nervous, Ike? I think I was more nervous last night. I could hardly sleep. This morning I'm feeling pretty good. It's the calm before the storm. Yep, know that feeling. Just try to relax. You're not going to be out there alone. Yeah, you're right. Not that we're really going to rely on Boyd for any help. He's an idiot. I do have a means for, calling him out about being terrible. I'm not just saying that. He actually is not very good. Remember, I've used all the units. I mentioned this last episode. I know he's not very good. Let me explain what's going on. This is the map of Chaldea. This is the village. So they've hired Strauss bandits. Right there is your group of your units. As you can see, Ike's still doing, the little thing with the waves, since he is the main character, because your other characters can die. If their HP falls to 0 in a battle, they're dead. They're not going to come back. They are outright gone. You can't bring them back. They won't resurface. You won't see them in any of their cutscenes, and, they will be completely gone. The only time that you will not be able to lose a unit is if the defeat conditions say that this character cannot die. If they die, then you'll game over and you'll have to restart, of course. Now, I'm going to be making sure that none of the characters in this playthrough die. None of them are going to die, except for, the boss characters, the characters that have to die. But as for, our units, there should not be anybody dying. So where the blue marks here, the red dots are the bandits. As you can see, the one right there, up near the big house, I think it's supposed to be a church, is the boss. There aren't many of them, but we can't get careless. The one in the building up north is their leader. Yeah, I should have said that, up north. The largest building. So the mission is to take him out and recapture the building. Yeah, that right there, the thing he's standing on is the spot that you have to seize with Ike, so you'll stand on that space and hit seize. But in order to do that, you're going to have to defeat the boss, and he's not going to move from that spot, so you can't, lure him out or anything like that. He's going to stay there. All this stuff's old news to me, but I can give a rookie like you a few tips. Don't get worked up and jump out in front of everyone. You'll just end up getting hurt. Don't try to do too much. When things get dangerous, you can and should rely on us. As long as you watch how the enemy moves carefully, you'll be fine. Think of this as a training mission. Alright, here we go. Before you engage the enemy, take a good look at his weapon. The weapon you use often determines who has the upper hand in a fight. Yeah, this is the weapon triangle I mentioned this last episode. Axes work well against lances, they're weak against swords. Lances are good against swords, but not against axes, and swords are good against axes, but weak against lances. So you've got two axe users right now. Ike uses swords, and Oscar actually uses lances, which is kind of unfortunate for him, because he kind of gets screwed over. There's a lot of enemies that use axes right now. So Oscar kind of got shafted a little bit, but Do not mistake him for being a bad unit. He's amazing. Now, if I remember that, I'll always have the advantage over you, Boyd. Yeah, that's true. And don't forget to visit the locals. Yeah, that's true. The villagers should welcome our presence. You see I've got these doors like this that are open. You can actually go up to these and visit them. Now, first things first, I'll go ahead and show you the stats for each character. Boyd actually has more HP here than he did in the tutorial. The tutorial, he only had 18, which is obviously designed to make him weaker so you can actually beat him. But here are what his stats look like. So you've got 7 strength, 0 magic, 4 skill, 6 speed, 4 luck, 5 defense, and 0 resistance. He obviously uses axes. He's got a vulnerary to come with him in a fighter band. These are only going to show up after you beat in the game. Basically, they quote-unquote alter the direction of a level upgrade. Remember how the fixed stats that I used whenever we were in the first episode, where it will basically, it's designed to whenever you get level ups, it will be based on that unit's strength. That's what these do as well. So that's all the fighter bands, or any type of band, will do. I believe Oscar's got one as well. Yeah, he's got the paladin band. Okay. Let's go back to Boyd here. As you can see, his weight's a little bit higher. I'll go ahead and show you the description for fighter. Axe-wielding fighters who march into battle with superior strength but poor defense. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Now, the interesting thing about Boyd is he does have great strength, but his resistance is terrible. And by terrible, I mean really bad. Like, I think whenever I used him, I got him up to his highest level possible. I don't think he had any resistance points. I'm pretty sure it was still at 0. It might have been at 2, but that's the max it was at. So we'll go ahead and take a look at his stats really quickly. They look pretty bad from what I'm looking at right now. HP has a 75% growth rate, strength is 60, magic is 5, skill is 50, speed is 45, luck is 35, defense and resistance are both 25. Now, overall, he can be decent. He'll be able to max out his strength and HP. I'm pretty sure he did that. He might max out skill and speed. Speed you're going to have to work for a little bit, and I like characters that are fast. He does have a skill in him, which I'll talk about in a second. But I'm not really a big fan of Boyd, because I like characters that can either dodge really well or have good defense, and he doesn't have either of those abilities, so I'm not a big fan of him. He seems to get hit very often, and while he is very strong, whenever you start working on your character's strength will be something that's nice, but I like having characters that can attack twice in one round, so I like characters that are fast, as opposed to ones that do a lot of damage. In addition, his skill's not very high, so he has a pretty decent chance at missing, and I like to try to keep my skill stats as high as I can. Now, he's got a skill called Tempest. This doubles the biorhythm effects. I talked about this last episode, but the biorhythm is something that whenever it's high up on that wave, then you'll do better, and whenever it's low on the wave, you will do worse. So this basically doubles it. So whenever his biorhythm's low, he's got a much higher chance of missing than if it was high. So that's what Boyd's like. Titania is another axe user. She's a paladin. Like I mentioned, she's a pre-promote. She's mounted knights whose unrivaled movement is only one of their exceptional abilities. Now her stats actually look pretty good because she is a pre-promote. A paladin is a unit like Oscar, who's a lance knight. In her case, it was probably an axe knight. Once they get to level 20 and they get another level after that, they get to level 21, then they will class change into a new unit, which in Oscar's case would be a paladin. So she's a paladin level 1. So while her stats look good, I guarantee if you got Oscar to level 1 paladin, his stats would be better in probably everything relative to Titania. She is a pre-promote. She's very good right now, but she will not be good later, and she will hog your experience. So I do not recommend using her at all. Which is kind of unfortunate, but I mean, that's kind of how it is. You know, there's no real way around it. But what I would say is, if you want, you can use her for a quote-unquote meat shield, which means you can unequip her weapon and have her run out into the center of a battlefield, and other units will attack her because she has no weapon equipped, and then you can just take the units that are attacking her out one by one, because since her defense is relatively high at this point, she can take a little bit of punishment. The problem is, you just don't want her wasting experience, and later on she'll become pretty much useless. She's semi-important to the story, at least early on, but aside from that, not overly so. Then she's pretty much put in the backdrop, really. But she is a pre-promote, so I'll give you a quick rundown of her stats. Growth rates, HP 80%, Strength 45%, Magic 25%, Skill 60%, Speed 50%, Luck 45%, Defense 40%, and Resistance 45%. Now, she is, like I mentioned, she is a pre-promoted unit. She's going to get less experience from battles, which obviously makes sense. So, try to make sure she doesn't get very many kills. She can be used effectively to keep the player, out of issues by, like I mentioned, using her as a meat shield. She's got lower stats than the other paladins, especially in strength. You could use her if you want. I would not recommend it, which I know that's kind of saying 2 out of 4 characters you wouldn't recommend, so yeah, it's kind of an issue. She's got counter, which is a very terrible skill to have. It basically, whenever you take damage, the enemy will take half of that damage. The problem, of course, is you have to take damage in order to use this skill, so yeah. I'll also tell you the type. She's also a knight, so she has a bonus of really high movement. Her movement's 9 as opposed to Ike's 5 or 6 is what I think his was. Yeah, his was 6 and Boyd's is 6. Oscar has 8 because he's a knight as well. You'll notice that she actually has 2 different weapons she can use. She can use lances or axes. Whenever Oscar gets his class changed, because believe me, I am going to be using Oscar. Right now he's only got lances, but I can give him axes, swords, or bows, actually, which we haven't seen in Archer yet. But you've got different options for when characters class change. Like, what type of weapon do you want them to use in addition to what they're already using, type of thing. So, it's pretty nice to have, but, the fact that you can use lances and swords is nice. I would not recommend Titania, though, or Titania, however you want to pronounce it. I would not recommend her at all. Good meat shield for the starting chapters, that's it. Lastly, we've got Oscar. There he is. Oscar is a level 3 Lance Knight. No, go back. Level 3 Lance Knight. Mounted Knights with swift movement who can wield a variety of weapons. Right now he can only wield lances, but he is a very, very good unit. I love Oscar. So you can see his stats right there. I won't go over those too much. She's got an Iron Lance, Vulnerary, and a Paladin band. Oscar is amazing. Like, Oscar's probably one of my favorite units in the game. Definitely one that I would recommend starting out with, because just for the sole fact that he's got high movement. But in addition to that, he does kind of, because he got the weapon triangle and his disadvantage, like axe user, there's a sword user, axe user, you have 2 sword users, the rest of these guys use axes. So weapon triangle wise, it looks like he doesn't have a really good shot against stuff, but I mean, it kind of throws you off guard. It tries to trick you. Oscar is a good unit. He is a very good unit, so I would recommend using him big time. Let's go back to his stats right here. If I can pull up his stats, because I am reading these, I'm not just, guessing what their stat growths are. Growth rates, HP 55%, Strength 45%, Magic 20%, Skill 50%, Speed 45%, Luck 30%, Defense 35%, and Resistance 30%. That seems kind of low, but he seemed to always do really well on all his stats for me. So Oscar's got pretty good stats for his starting level. He's a lot like Abel from another Fire Emblem game, if you've done that. He excels typically in speed and skill, which is what I like. He's got pretty decent defense. He's one of the characters that you can kind of have on the front lines, and he's not going to be in too much trouble for the most part. His strength isn't super high, but it's usually enough for him to be very good. When he promotes, I'd recommend using bows, which I'll talk about that later, as his weapon of choice so he can have range. But you can also use swords, which will allow him to turn the weapon triangle in his favor against axe users. But he is a very good unit. I would recommend him. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to be trying to use primarily Oscar and Ike. Titania's going to be our shield. Boyd's probably going to just go for items, because I'm not going to use him hardly at all. So I'll probably have him go through, like, the houses. You're not going to be able to get to this one, and you'll see why. But I'm going to go ahead and have Boyd go up here and grab this. All you have to do in order to visit a house and get their item is just walk up next to it where the door's open and hit visit. That's all. You're the mercenaries. Thank you for coming. We've heard a lot about you. Here, take this weapon. We're farmers, not fighters. Maybe you'll get some use from it. And you get a steel sword. Now, Boyd can't use that, which is why it's grayed out, but he can hold on to it, because right now we don't have a way to store stuff, so you're going to have to watch out for that. You'll notice probably earlier that Ike lost his practice sword and 4 iron swords, so while it's nice, that does use up a lot of inventory. So you can trade it over if you want by going up next to a character and hitting trade. And you can trade stuff around as you would like to do so. I'm not going to worry about that right now, though. I'm going to go up and attack this guy with Ike. Pick your iron sword, whichever one you like. As you can see, it showed 7 times 2 right there, which meant my speed was high enough to attack twice in one round. So what that means is if you're the person that's attacking, you're going to attack and then the opponent will attack and you'll attack again. If you're the one being attacked, your opponent will attack and you will attack in response twice in a row. That's how it works. See, he's got 8 times 2 as well. Oscar's got a speed of 7, this guy has a speed of 3. So as you can see, it's much higher. So that's why he gets to attack. Now his hit percentage is low. Like I said, he kind of gets a little bit shafted because of weapon triangle disadvantages. But he is not a bad unit. I would use him definitely. I mean, he's going to take a little bit of damage, but he's got pretty good defense for this point in the game. For level 3 Lance Knight, he's got pretty good defense. I'm just going to go ahead and leave everything it is. I'll move Titania right here. If you want, you can also click an enemy, or click on an enemy and hit A, and you can see that where their attack range is. So any spot that's highlighted in orange is somewhere they can reach and attack. You can just press B to get rid of it. And, you know, it's pretty useful to use if you want to make sure, like, okay, these 2 guys are right here. So this is where they can attack. So if I move Titania here, she's not going to get attacked by either one of those. So pretty useful to have. So all our units have moved, so we'll go ahead and let the enemy take their turn. But your mercenaries look for the next meal. The villagers must have hired him. Listen up, lads. Hurt him and hurt him bad. We let this bunch live and we'll have hordes of hired swords hounding us for the rest of our days. And you got this guy over here who's like, it's those fool villagers. They think they can buy a bunch of sellswords to chase us away. It ain't going to work out how they wanted. All they get for their trouble is a bunch of ruined houses. Tear them down, boys. That'll teach them. This is why I said you couldn't get to that house. Because that's going to happen on the enemy's first turn. There's no way you can get to that house. So if the bandit units, and it's the big burly guys, not the fighters like this guy right here, if they reach in front of the house where the door is, then they will destroy the house. Which means you're not going to get whatever items inside. Now that one, like I said, you can't get. The other one up there, they can reach, but you can get there first. And I'd recommend saving the item inside. It's pretty good item, so much better than that steel sword. Alright, there we go. Those guys are taken out. And we get another level. Very nice. What do we got? Strength and res. Nice. Got a cover for that last level when we didn't pick him up in the prologue. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and turn the battle animations off now because I realize that they're kind of... they don't look fantastic. Actually, what I'll probably do is put them on individual, so if Titania and Boyd get attacked, you get to see them. But Oscars and Ike's I will turn off. Aside from that, we'll leave everything the way it is. Boyd will just move him forward. Titania can reach here, and I don't want her to attack, so instead of visiting, the first thing I'm going to do is go to Items. Now, her steel axe is equipped. It's why it's got that little E symbol next to it. So in order to unequip a weapon, all you have to do is just select it and then hit unequip. So she's still got the item, she just doesn't have it equipped. And then we'll go ahead and visit here. So when the Spaniards took over, we can't even sleep at night. Please, help hit our village. My mother left me this. I hope it serves you well. And you get a Seraph Robe. That is an item that you can use for any unit, and it will restore, not restore, it will increase their max HP by 7. It is a very, very good item to have. I'm going to go ahead and have Oscar attack this guy, because he's got the weapon triangle advantage here. And this is what they look like on the field, the attack animations. I think they look fine here. It's the full-on, you know, actual animations that don't look very appealing. My work here is done. The house is totaled. Now to move on to bigger things. I smashed me some mercenaries. Yeah, all the houses are closed, so you can't get to them now. Now, it's probably worth noting that you can visit a house with any character, so, I mean, something to take note of. Now, since she has no weapon, she's not going to attack, but you can see what Titania looks like in the 3D environment. I'm not going to have her attack, though, because I do not want her taking away the experience from other units that can use it. Let's go ahead and attack this guy with Oscar. That'll take care of him. Now, after a mounted unit like Oscar attacks somebody that's on horseback, if they still have movement left, they can actually keep moving. This is an ability called Canto, I believe. C-A-N-T-O, not Kanto, the Pokemon region. Where is it on here? I'm not actually sure. It might just be under their type, but they have the ability to move afterwards. So, it's something to make note of, that Titania and Oscar can both do that. How much damage will this guy do if he hits me? He'll do 6. He's got 53%. I'm going to go ahead and heal Ike, which you're probably going to, be perfectly honest, you're probably going to have to do that in this first level. You probably will have to heal Ike. I want this guy to attack Oscar and not Boyd, so I'm going to move him back here. because I don't want Boyd to get the experience either. It seems kind of dumb this early in the game to like go ahead and start, you know, focusing on which units you want to use, but you don't want to waste the experience in this game. It is limited. It's not like the GBA games where there's arenas and you can abuse and get essentially infinite experience. Like, you actually do need to divide out your experience wisely. And part of that comes from knowing what characters that you want to use and knowing which ones you don't want to use. So, I mean, yeah, part of it does come from that, sure. Okay, so we'll go ahead and attack this guy with Ike. He missed. And the bandit falls. This guy's still full health. Oscar's getting pretty low. So I'm going to go ahead and trade over Titania's vulnerary to him. And use one. I'll probably trade the full one back over to Ike. I'm going to have Oscar go for that other swordsman up there. The Myrmidon, or Myrmidon. Fighters live and die by the skill of their sword arms. Their speed and skills are superior to almost any other sword fighter. They're typically going to be high in stuff like speed, skill, usually not strength or anything else. But as you can see, his stats are terrible. No luck, no res, no magic. Their luck stats are going to be pretty low. Even the boss has 0 luck, so, I mean, you know, take that for what it's worth. The bandits are going to say stuff like axe-wielding ruffians with terrible strength and incredible endurance. I don't know why they say incredible endurance, I guess because their HP. They have higher HP than fighters and higher strength, but their defense is lower. That's really the only difference. I'm going to move Titania over here so we can get this guy out to where Ike is. Ike's got, yeah, he's at full HP. And then we'll wait. Okay, good. He actually went after Ike. Alright, so he'll be dead next turn. Myrmidon's probably going to come over and attack Oscar. Yes, he is. Right now, generally, if you're attacking a Myrmidon, you're probably only going to get 1 attack per round, but that's alright. He's still going to die anyway. And do not even bother attacking the Myrmidons with Boyd. His attack percentage is going to be like 46. So pretty low. And that's a pretty good level. I would have liked luck, but I mean, it's not necessary right now. And his defense is pretty high for this current point in the game, so he's got an Iron Sword. He can't use that, but I'm going to let him hold on to that because I don't want to, you know, have to drop anything. He doesn't drop anything, so we'll just go ahead and beat him. Alright, that's that. We're just going to go ahead and end the turn right here. If you hit suspend, that will obviously currently suspend the map you're on and you can come back to it later. It's not going to outright save. It's like the saving in Mario Wii. Like, it will save, but once you load up the game, you're going to lose that save, basically. So it's a temporary save. You can really only save after every chapter, or whenever you're in your base, which we'll see that later. How much damage are you going to do? I would like Oscar to get the kill because I can't hold another sword right now. I don't know. Let's see. Ike's at 3, Oscar's at 4. How much damage will Ike do? He'll do 7 times 2, that'll do 14. Next round he'll do another 14. That'll bring him down to 1 HP. Assuming he doesn't get a crit, this should work. Hey, you're nothing but a boy. Well, if every brat needs a beating now and then, are you ready for it? Not today. If you want to run away, now's your chance. Imagine that, you sassing me. Don't that beat all? You'll actually get different conversations depending on who you attack the boss with. Generally, Ike will have a different conversation with the boss compared to the other units. Unless the other units have some relation to each other, you know, like siblings or anything like that. Oh, that's right, he's going to get a small bonus too because he's standing on that square. You get a slight heal every turn you do that, so he got 2 health out of that, which is fine. Alright, skill and speed, that's good. I would have liked the strength again, but that's okay. That's okay. You can't expect a perfect level every time, so I mean, you know, what are you going to do? Okay, his attack is 100. He's going to kill him next round. The thing is, this guy drops an Iron Axe, and Ike's got... There we go. And Ike's got 4 weapons. You can have 4 weapons and 4 items for each set. So, if I get the axe right now, it's going to force me to drop an item, and I would either drop the Iron Sword I've been using because it's got lower usage on it, which is why it says 32 out of 46. 32 means how many uses it's got left, 46 is its max. Once it hits 0, it's going to break. That weapon will break. Typically, weapons that are stronger are going to break faster. I'll give you an example. Steel Axe, Iron Axe. Steel Axe has 35 uses, the Iron one has 45, even though it's weaker. So it's got higher durability, but little power. Keep in mind also that the weight changes on them. Like, the weight for an Iron Axe is 10, but the weight for a Steel Axe is 15. So if you have Ike attack with the steel sword, he may not have enough speed to actually double your opponent's. So overall, the iron sword might be better. You might be doing 10 with the steel sword, but the iron sword might be doing 7, but it might be doing 7 times 2, which is 14 overall. So that's the difference. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of trading here. I'm going to go ahead and give Ike a steel sword, but I'm also going to have him put an iron sword up. And then I'll take Boyd's Vulnerary as well, and give him the weaker one. We'll wait here. And, who do I want to get the experience for? I think probably Ike. Wouldn't like Ike have it. And the guy says he's not meant to die here. Well, too bad, I say otherwise. And defeating a boss will, of course, give you much more experience than, you know, defeating a regular enemy. Because generally they're going to be higher level anyway. And you get to hear the change in the music if I would stop talking over it. I believe it's something called like Road to Victory or something like that. It basically shows up when all the enemies have been defeated. I'm going to go ahead and trade that Iron Axe back to Boyd. And I think that's it. I'm going to try to have everybody keep an open slot. So I'll take that Iron Axe. Just in case an enemy, you know, like they beat an enemy. I don't want to have to drop anything for the most part. Unless I absolutely have to drop something I don't want to. And there's no point in healing Ike because this map is done. So there's a little bit of tutorial, but it's mostly stuff like trading, you know, stuff you had to do with more than one unit. Stuff like that. So Ike's fine. You know, it surprised me to think you've come so far. There's nothing new about that. After all, Commander Grail is... What about my father? Oh, nothing. Nothing? Now I'm really curious. You'll learn about it someday. Hey, Ike, that wasn't bad for your first battle. Not as flashy as my first time, though. Yeah, you're a real standout. I'll never forget the sight of you so keyed up you broke your own axe. Nice job, buddy. Nice job. You'd have to bring it up. Well, that's what you get for being a smartass and trying to brag about it. And Oscar is older than Boyd. Boyd's the middle child. We have not seen Rolf yet. Rolf's the youngest of the three. And Rolf's kick-ass, dude. Rolf's like one of my favorite units in the game. But that will end it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in Chapter 2. Later.